G'day there guys, the key to success is to start before you're ready. It's your main man Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/AmiTheA. Now if you love today's episode, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and enjoy today's bloody good content. Thank you. Posted by user BroHubTruth. Titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my sister-in-law the truth about my brother and my husband? I have a husband named Matt and an older brother named Tony. Tony has a wife named Anna. Tony and I both went to boarding school growing up. I went to an all-girls school and he went to an all-boys school across the country. Because of the distance, we weren't very close as kids, and I didn't know much about his life back then. When Tony was at boarding school, he met my future husband Matt, and they became best friends. At the time, Tony was dealing with depression about his sexuality, and Matt helped him out of it. Long story short, they ended up falling in love and having a relationship. Once they graduated high school, they broke up and lost touch. I didn't know about any of this at the time. I ended up going to the same university as Matt, which is where I met him. I didn't mention my brother initially because he wasn't really a part of my life, and since Tony and I have different last names, the three of us didn't put the pieces together until a family gathering a year later. I'm not gonna lie, it was tough at first for everyone involved, but eventually we were able to all get past it, and Tony and Matt became best friends again. Matt and I got married 3 years ago. When I met Tony's partner, Anna, for the first time, I privately asked Tony if he told her about his history with Matt. Tony said it was still a new relationship and he would tell her when they were more serious. Now Tony and Anna are married. Since Tony and Matt are so close, they often go on boys' trips with just the two of them. They took one of these trips this past weekend and everything was going fine until I got a call from Anna asking if I knew where Tony was. Apparently, he told her he was going to see our parents, but she called them and he wasn't there. I told her that he was on a trip with Matt. She got upset and asked me if there was something going on between them. Thinking she already knew because she and Tony are now married, I told her not to worry because Matt and Tony's romance ended in high school. That's when I found out Tony never told her. Tony was furious at me when he got back because Anna is threatening divorce and I'm tearing up his family because I told her without asking him first. Apparently, Tony didn't tell Anna the truth because he thought that she wouldn't let him see Matt anymore, and now Anna wants him to cut me and Matt out completely. Matt is upset too because he can't see Tony and he's losing his best friend all over again. My brother wants to cut me out of his life. His wife wants a divorce and my husband is miserable, all because of something I said. I feel so guilty and can't help but feel as though I messed up. Am I the a-hole? No, this is their fault for not telling the wife when they got married or, quite a few years before that. I feel like anyone would be pissed off knowing that they were lied to about going on trips with someone that they used to have, a romantic, physical connection with. I can't say I'd be too happy to be in her position finding out, and it's not your fault that you told her and uncovered this. You're not an a-hole for doing this. They suck by lying by omission. So, not the a-hole. Edit. I really appreciate everyone's comments. Some of them are very hard to read, but I suppose this is a wake-up call that's long overdue. I know it may seem difficult to believe that someone my age can be so naive and clueless, but being rational is something I've always struggled with. I wish it were fake. I'm realizing that this is most likely far worse than I thought it was. I won't be able to respond to individual comments for a bit, but I am reading all of them in the meantime, and will post an update when I can. Edit 2. I've seen a lot of comments asking why I didn't say anything about the trip sooner and what I thought they were doing. So I'll just answer here for the sake of convenience. My brother has been struggling with pretty severe depression for the past few years. Because of this, he doesn't go out much or have many friends. My husband is his only close friend and the only one Tony will open up to because my husband helped him through depression when they were younger. The outings with Matt are one of the few things that make my brother happy. Matt always told me they do regular things like play video games and watch movies and go biking, so I didn't think too much into it. Even with Matt being Tony's ex, I thought it was more like Matt was helping his friend through a tough time. I see now how stupid I was to assume that, but that was my thought process. Edit 3. Please don't let this post be a justification for homo and biphobia. Whatever happens with my brother and my husband isn't reflective of gay and bi people as a whole. Edit 4. Last edit. Wow. I stepped away from a bit and there are a ton of comments. I won't be able to respond individually as there's a lot going on right now, clearly, but I'll still be reading. Before I sign off, I have a couple of quick updates. Matt agreed to tell me everything after I've given him some time and space to process all of this. As much as I, and probably you all, want answers now, that's what I will be doing. Still no word from brother or sister-in-law. I'm going to give it a rest for the day and try to focus on something that doesn't terrify me. I will be back with a separate update post when things make more sense. Thank you all. Also, I have seen Brokeback Mountain. Evidently, it's a lot more fun on screen than it is in real life. Update. I wasn't at all expecting my last post to get so much attention. To say that the comments were a wake-up call is an understatement. Many people wanted an update, so here it is. After I gave my husband space, I confronted him about his trips with my brother. He agreed to be honest with me about their relationship. As some of you suspected, Matt knew when we first met that I was Tony's sister and started dating me to get close to Tony again. He claimed that in the first year of our relationship, before he reunited with Tony, he genuinely fell in love with me. When Tony saw us together, he admitted to Matt that he still loved him and was distraught when Matt said he didn't feel the same way. Eventually, they made amends and became close friends again. Around the time Matt married me, Tony fell into a deep depression. That's when the trip started. Matt told me that initially he was just supporting Tony as a friend, but Tony broke down on one of the trips and confessed that he never stopped loving Matt and was lying about the trips to his wife because he felt guilty. Also, why he never told her about their history. He begged Matt to keep this a secret to protect their relationship. According to Matt, nothing physical ever happened between them. I pushed him on why Anna thought there was something going on, and Matt eventually admitted they were having an emotional affair. A few months ago, Anna overheard a phone call between Tony and Matt that made her suspicious, so she went through Tony's phone and confronted him about some things she found. No hard proof, but enough to make her uneasy. She told Tony she didn't want him hanging around with Matt anymore, but he did anyway until I accidentally ratted him out. My brother and sister-in-law have totally cut contact, so I don't have anyone to corroborate my husband's story. I still don't know how much of it I believe. If it's true, I don't know why Anna never told me anything. The whole thing sounds too ridiculous to be real, but for now, it's all I have. Matt has apologized non-stop and wants to work through this, which I can't even think about right now. The past couple of weeks have been awful. Matt moved out. We both agreed that we need distance before making any decisions about our marriage, but I don't see us coming back from this. I don't think I'll ever be able to trust anyone again. The worst thing is, I only have myself to blame for being so fudging naive and not seeing the massive red flags sooner, and for marrying my brother's ex in the first place. More than anything, I feel so incredibly guilty. This was not the ending I'd hoped for, but I'm grateful that at least I have some answers now. Honestly, I'm not sure I would have had the courage to directly confront this if not for my post here. So despite everything, maybe we can all think of this as somewhat of a happy ending. Thank you all for your comments and support. I'm so sorry. I remember commenting on your post back then. This is not your fault. You did nothing to deserve this. Don't feel stupid. You trusted someone you loved, and unfortunately, that trust was not honored. But that doesn't make it your mistake. I hope you heal from this and find peace. What a terrible situation they've both put you and Anna in. Thank you. It's been so hard not to blame myself. I can only hope that this pain will pass in time. I understand. It's hard not to look inwards and say, if only I'd done X, none of this would have happened, so this must be my fault somehow. But it's not. We are never at fault for loving, trusting, and seeing the best in people. It is their responsibility and blame for taking advantage of your faith and goodwill. My father passed away last year. It was immensely painful. The anniversary of his death was a few weeks ago, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Time, plus the support of family and friends, and a little therapy heals all wounds. You'll recover from this. You are doing exactly what you can right now. Remember, the only way out is through. You're going through it now. Soon you'll be out of these woods. Your comment is exactly what I needed right now. I appreciate this so much. I'm so sorry to hear about your father. I can't imagine what that's like, and I admire your resilience. I start therapy next week, and I'm super grateful that my family and friends have rallied around me in this. The only way out is through. I'm going to hang on to that. Got any spare change 33 says, it's okay, you did nothing wrong. What Mark did to you was completely wrong. He took complete advantage of you and your brother's relationship. You were an amazing partner and gave him everything he needed. Remember that. All you need to do is learn from these mistakes. This story seems to have more details that Matt is hiding, but at this rate, you thankfully don't want to stay anyways. This marriage was built on sand and lies. It's time to move on. I hope you think about counseling for yourself. Good luck, OP, wishing you peace and happiness. And OP replies, thank you. I also suspect that there is more to the story, but like you said, I don't want to waste my energy on it. Fortunately, I'm starting therapy next week. I just realized that Anna might not have told you because she suspects that you knew about their affair. I mean, you were okay with the trips between your bro and husbands. That could potentially be the reason why she cut contact with you as well. I'm also very glad that you're starting therapy. Take all the time you need to heal. Posted by user Throwaway482799. Titled, Would I be the a-hole if I won't allow my in-laws in their 50s and their unemployed adult children, 24-29, to move into my partner and I's home? My partner and I live together and have been responsible and prudent in our early and mid-20s, and now own a home together. We have been together for 4 years, and my partner and I are committed long-term. During the course of our relationship, there has been a lot of ups and downs with my partner's family over minor things that are blown out of proportion. During most interactions with in-laws, I am ignored, alienated, and left out of family discussions, plans, and in general, it is pretended that I don't exist, even though partner and I live together. I have consistently been a supporting partner and have made significant changes to my life plans and moved to accommodate my partner's career to a state thousands of miles from my own family. Our home is our sanctuary, and the familiar place that feels like home in this new area to me. Now my partner's parents have sold their home by choice during an incredibly hot market in our area without a contingency clause dependent on them closing on a new house. Because of the situation they chose to put themselves in, they are now pressuring us to move into our house until they can purchase another home. I want to tell them that I understand their situation is hard, but it's not their place to demand that my partner and I house them since they are trying to force our hands. So Reddit, would I be the a-hole if I refuse to house my partner's parents and adult siblings pro bono for an undetermined amount of time? I think no. Obviously, everyone's different in these situations, but me personally, I wouldn't let that happen. And maybe I would be judged as the a-hole for this one. But if you intentionally put yourself into this situation without securing a house before selling your own house, what are you doing? How long are you going to be sticking around my house with my partner in this amount of time? If you've intentionally put yourself in this situation when it didn't have to happen in the first place, you were just stupid and you dropped the ball, I'm not going to feel bad for you in this situation. So I'm on OP's side for this one. Not the a-hole. And you would not be the a-hole. Not the a-hole. So they make a mistake and you have to pay the price? That's crazy talk. Talk to your significant other and say that it's not okay. Do it fast before he gives in and you find yourself in a world of crap. OP replies, ironically, the in-laws called shortly after I posted and we had this exact conversation. We made it clear that they are not welcome to stay here and mother-in-law said she would bring boxes over next week. So you told her no and she said she's bringing boxes over? She doesn't have a key, correct? Please keep doors locked. Better yet, change the locks and get a security cam, just to be sure. And OP says, at the end of the conversation, she blurted out that she would bring boxes over anyways. I am going to change the locks tomorrow and will tell her any boxes left here will go straight to the dump. Edit, she does not have keys, but the other relative does. Not the a-hole. Not the dump. Why go to that much trouble? If boxes arrive, refuse to accept them. No one by that name lives here. If boxes are still left, put them on the curb, go back inside, and re-lock the door. Not the a-hole. Do not let them in. They will never leave. They will treat you like a servant. Do not do it. The market is hopping, and they will not get a place soon. Save yourself and your relationship. They can get a short-term rental. You say to them, your lack of planning does not constitute an emergency on my part. Hopefully the in-laws sold at a profit so it can cover the hotel you recommend to them. Their situation may be hard, but not unforeseeable. They did this to themselves, not the a-hole. Updates. Here's how things ran down. This all began when our in-laws called and said they were 2 weeks out from closing on their house, by choice, hot market, and selling without a contingency clause upon them finding another home. My partner and I were direct and cordial as possible in saying that no, they would not be allowed to move in. After that conversation, they blew up our phones the next morning at 6 a.m, demanding to be let in at around 9. I rushed off to the hardware store and changed the locks because mother-in-law ultimately forced brother-in-law to give up the key we trusted to him. So, locks changed, said no, and we go about a 3-day break from all the harassments. Around when the parents were 5 days out of closing, we had all sorts of extended family blowing us up to take them in. Ironically, none of them had volunteered to take them in, but that's what you do for family. I sat down with the in-laws without my partner because they had requested to speak with me alone about a week ago. They spent nearly 4 hours trying to guilt me into changing my partner's mind. When I finally had enough, I told them flat out this conversation was over, and they left pretty upset. Closing day has come, and tomorrow they have nowhere to go but a hotel. Tonight has been a hailstorm of phone calls, but my partner and I are so glad we stood our ground. Thank you to everyone for their feedback and helping us feel like we were justified in our decision. For the record, they do not have offers in on a new home, so some of you are right that them staying with us could be indefinitely. A comment from user Order66Cody quotes what the family said about "that's what you do for family." I love this irony. Seriously, why aren't those relatives offering their homes? Because people are always more generous with others' time, money, and energy than they are with their own. My wife and I financially supported my mother for several years before we finally put our foot down because she refused to make sensible financial choices. She damaged our relationship, and I was not willing to deal with her living with us, especially since an aunt had said my mum would always have a home with her. Turns out my aunt was a liar, and tried to simultaneously pull the woe is me card while attempting to guilt me into having my mom stay with me because that's what family does. People usually say, "But we're family," when they know they're in the wrong, as a way to guilt you into doing things that they want or forgiving the unforgivable. And it sounds to me like they had every intention of that staying permanently. Effectively, they were planning to leech off you and your partner. I'm willing to bet that no rent was offered. You would have become servants in your own home. You absolutely did the right thing. Normigusta111 says, "We understand you feel very strongly about family helping family. We've informed the in-laws that your home is open to them and they will be in touch with moving specifics. Just send that response every time a family member tries to guilt trip you." Alright, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video, guys. I do hope you enjoyed it. As always, I want to do a huge shout out to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. You should be up on the screen now. I love you all, and I think every single one of you are amazing for supporting the channel in the way that you do. Again, thank you so much for supporting me. And again, if you did enjoy today's video, please do tell me what you thought of it down in the comments below. All of your hot takes, opinions, whatever you think, really, whatever's going on in your life right now, I'd love to hear down in the comments below. Before I leave, I'd also like to announce that I'm going to start doing meme content again on the second channel. I know it's been a while, so click on the Markee head on the screen without the Australian flag behind him if you want to go see some memes. And as always, guys, have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.